Hey, good morning. We're gonna get started.
They're gonna
Well,
know.
right, no,
It's
no,
standing
I
out
mean, it'll
for
show
you.
up on my thing when
But
I.
if you would know that you are getting.
So today we're gonna have you. I'm good. It's okay. We're gonna introduce each other in the seats. But if you need to speak, if you could come up here because we're streaming this, and otherwise people can't hear you. So that's my one request today. My name is Nicole Growe. Today we are going over the 2023 action plan. Today we are meeting with the Consolidated Plan Advisory Committee. Just briefly, like I said, we'll do introductions real quick. We'll start down by Colleen and we'll just move over.
Colleen Gilson, City of Sandusky.
Quinn Rambo, City of Sandusky.
Nicole Growe, City of Sandusky.
Tim King, Erie Regional Planning Commission.
Diane Corso, Erie County Board of Developmental Disabilities.
Ralph Chamberlain, Erie Metropolitan Housing Authority.
Jeff Berquist of BHHF Professional Real Estate.
Stephanie King, Director of Crossroads.
John Fike, Fike Design.
Brian Hodges, Private Habitat Community.
Thank you, Chair.
Sharon Johnson, resident.
Thank you. All right, just briefly, the agenda is up. I'm going to go through it real quick because it's not going to take that much time. So we did introductions. We're going to go over the timeline for the submittal to HUD, the remaining timeline. Then we'll review the 23 action plan draft budget, and then there'll be time for group discussion and comments. So the timeline right now where we're at today is April 3rd. We're about halfway through the process. There is a 30-day comment period going on right now, a public comment period. That'll end April 23rd. And there'll be a second public hearing at a commission meeting on April 24th. And then the City Commission will entertain the adoption of the plan on May 8th. And then hopefully we'll submit on the 9th because the deadline is the 17th of May. Very briefly, the Community Development Block Grant Program. We are an entitlement community, which means we get our funds directly from the Department of Housing and Urban Development. These funds allow us to carry out any activities that meet any of the following three objectives. They must benefit low to moderate income families, aid in the prevention of slum and blight, or do a community urgent need. So you were sailing. All right, fun part. Budget. Anyone else need the sign-in sheet real quick? No, okay. So we got our official allocation from HUD. We're getting $708,428. So some of these numbers are reworked slightly. The biggest difference from when it was presented the last time was with rehab, which is number 8, and number 9, which is acquisition and nuisance abatement. So more funds were given to the rehab portion because we're hoping to extend our relationship with the health department on their lead abatement program. We have met with them in the meanwhile, and I think we are very well on the way on spending all our funds already for this year, so that'll be good. And then the acquisition and nuisance abatement, that's more clearance and development funds. We are going to be getting that $52,000 up on the top from admin. That will end up going into the $52,000, or I'm sorry, that will be going into number 9, acquisition and nuisance abatement in the end of June. So those funds will be added too. So we'll have a lot of funds in there. And then we're also working with the health department on getting some funds back for other demolitions. So although it looks like we're only giving them a little bit in that category, we're actually quite a bit of funds. Briefly, we'll go through it. Program, administration, and planning. For 23, it was proposed that $120,000 be placed in that category. For fair housing, $10,000. Public facilities, which would be road repavings, $265,000. Community development would be $40,701. Code enforcement, $90,000. Public services, $51,264.20. Youth programming, $55,000. rehab, $50,000, acquisition and nuisance abatement, $26,462.80. And then any carryovers within any specific category will remain in that category, or with the exception of program admin and planning and public services will be placed in clearance and demolition, which is acquisition and nuisance abatement. So I want to open it up for comments.
Nicole.
Yes.
My suggestion is the same as it always is that you program, I would suggest that.
Does he have to go up to the podium?
Yes, I'm sorry. Or can you speak it, will it work if the mic's on?
If he can speak into the mic.
Or, yeah, just pull it over and see if that works.
Go over and talk.
I've never.
Jared Oliver?
Never been accused of being quiet. It would be my suggestion that I see code enforcement at $90,000 and rehab at $50,000. To me, that's almost the reverse of what I would suggest. I would suggest, instead of citing people for infractions, helping them
Okay.
to correct those infractions. So the county will pledge $350,000 towards rehabilitation through the CHIP program, towards the city of Sandusky residents.
Very nice.
I would encourage the city to up their rehab portion of it, because our $350,000, the city's, $350,000 goes extremely fast.
Yes.
There's always more demand than there is funds. So I would suggest almost reversing the two.
Yeah, these
And
are
I don't
separate.
know budgetary wise what that works out for your employees, but,
Yeah, no, thank you for your comment. This is, when we say rehab, actually, this is more, this isn't for CHIP. This is for, right now, we're in a contract with the health department to do lead paint
Right.
abatement, so that's what we're doing. But I do understand your point. Any other comments? Go ahead, sir. Can you use the microphone?
I'm
Thank
sorry,
you.
I should have brought it up last year, but didn't talk about it.
That's okay.
We have $10,000 for fair housing.
Yes.
City of Sandusky has an AD and Fair Housing Board that I chair.
Yes,
The
I'm on
county
it.
also has a Fair Housing Board. What is that actual $10,000 done
That goes
for
to the
when we
contract,
seem
there's a
to- I'm sorry?
consultant. There's a consultant that's a contract for them.
Okay. And what actually does this contractor do that we're not overlaying multiple?
So he screens all the phone calls when anybody has a fair housing issue. Instead of me handling them, he does it and he directs people to where they need to go. He also does workshops. He'll do a workshop here in the spring and he prints all the pamphlets out. He has all that cost incurred to him.
Okay, thank you.
Yep,
is that Don Eager?
Don Eager, yes. Anyone else? Go ahead.
Nicole, if no one wants to speak, I have several things on the agenda here for me. First of all, I had a couple suggestions, and I don't know where this is at in this budget. You'll have to tell me. But I asked for brand-new bus stop benches, and you said it was coming out of community development, I think you said?
Yeah, that community development, that 40,701. Number 4.
That's not very much.
Yes, we're working with transit right now. Transit's actually in our office, so we work quite closely with them, and there's actually only one stop that he needs a bus shelter for that we can fund through CDBG.
Well, not necessarily bus stops, but benches also, if you can't get the shelters, the shelters.
Yeah, there's areas, though, I can't work outside of certain areas is the problem.
I know you can only work within our borders, you can't go
Yeah.
out of town, that's fine.
Yep,
But at least if we can't get shelters, is to get the two-seater little blue things I see around town here.
Yep, we're working on it. We're working on it. It's on we're considering it. I've talked with Transit about it last week, so we wrote it down as a public suggestion.
Okay, put in a suggestion, so I may not get my suggestion, is that what you're saying?
Well,
I mean, this is a draft budget, you should know if that's figured in or not, right?
they're general categories. We don't have the exact projects.
That's what I have a problem with this. This is just general plugins here. We don't have any further details on, you've got like one area here that has $256,000 figured in under public facilities. You must have something in mind here that you can put some more
Yeah,
detail.
those are the road projects. I sent those.
Pardon?
Those are the road repavings. I sent that out.
Oh, this is streets?
Yes.
All of streets?
Public facilities is yes.
Well, public facilities, I think of also buildings, you
Yeah,
know.
no, this is just for street repaving.
Okay, I didn't see that put down in here, street repairs. I mean,
Yeah, there's.
Your language is different than mine, I guess.
That's okay. Yep.
Okay, so 265,000 is going for all streets, correct?
Or those segments that I sent out, yes.
Okay,
They have to be in a CDBG area.
okay. And so on back to the benches, when will I know? Will I know on your final presentation to the commissioners if I'm going to get those bus stop benches?
I'm going to defer to Colleen on this one.
Your suggestion is well taken. We are in the process of doing a look at the entire transit system within the city of Sandusky and identifying where benches are needed, where benches need to be implemented, where shelters need to be replaced or implemented. By the time that this is passed, I can't say that we can say there will be a shelter or a bus at a certain location. Your suggestion is well taken. It's been received by multiple people in the department, and we know that it is a need within the city of Sandusky, and we're working on it. Not just from taking a look at CDBG dollars to be able to use, but other grants that we will be researching.
Okay, I just don't want my suggestion to fall on deaf ears here.
It
so-
is not.
Okay.
It is not.
Okay. Also, I put in another suggestion a few weeks ago when I saw that there was a need. I am a housing committee member, and I saw a need where, especially with inflation going on and going into a recession, the people come before us, and some just don't have the money to put into the repairs of their house, and they have to get the repairs done. Okay. I thought I was told maybe $150,000 maybe would be set aside. And I don't know if CDBG can pick up some of this or how you're going to do that. Can you explain that to me?
Yeah, there was $150,000 set aside in COVID funds for rental and mortgage assistance. Maybe that's what you were thinking of. We don't individually help people with homes directly because the amount of paperwork it would take for us to get the project done, we couldn't help that many people. That's why we partner with the health department.
Oh, so that can't come out of CDBG?
It can, but we're helping more people by working with the health department through their lead abatement program, if that makes sense.
Well, not necessarily lead abatement, but, you know, if they need eave troughs and they can't put it on there, I mean, if they can't fix up their home, they end up going to court and paying a $1,000 fine. We don't want it to get that far. And if we could sift through some of that, if somebody could do that. We've done this before with, I don't know what it was, maybe a hot water tank through somebody's department here. You let them do the paperwork, and we paid it, okay? I think that was last year, remember?
No, there's a water line program that I think Debbie Eversole helps manage some of that.
Okay.
And then she has the home beautification project, and that may be also what you're thinking of.
Okay, so this $150,000 then for this other fix-up is going to come out of COVID? You still have COVID?
There isn't $150,000. I don't know where that number is coming from.
Okay, I'm going to have to get with Orzak on that then, because him and I were talking on that, so.
Okay.
I thought maybe some of that would come out of CDBG.
It may be
or
a
if
different
that was-
pot of money, is my guess. I don't know.
There, if I may, there is $50,000 right now reserved through the Housing Beautification Development Grant Program.
Oh, through the housing,
And
HEB?
that was based on your suggestion. So we did take some of the funds that are allocated citywide and make them specific for those that are dealing with code violations.
So 50,000 from HAB, that's
Absolutely.
final, right? Okay, thank you. Also for demo, how much was going in for demo? Did you say it was 40,000 for demos?
So that was in '22. We changed the naming of the clearance and demo. It's actually number 9 on the screen. It's acquisition and nuisance abatement. And we actually bumped that down this year. We're only putting $26,462.80.
Okay, and why is that?
Because we put more money into rehab.
Oh,
And
more into rehab?
And if I may, also the $52,000 in carryover will go down into acquisition and nuisance abatement. So you'll have that 26,462 plus 52 in carryover, which gives you a larger allocation for acquisition and nuisance abatement, of which demolition is an eligible activity.
Okay, does anybody know how many demos are on the waiting list? Did you check that out before you did that?
There's a whole process with that. There's demos on the list, but it has to go through the whole appeals process. Sometimes it will take quite a while. So until that whole process is done, we don't even get involved with it.
But we must have something waiting in the wings, shovel ready?
Waiting, I have ready. Anything that's ready to go is ready to go. As far as CDBG
Okay, I'll get with
dollars.
that department then. But we should know that when we're figuring this out. How
Yeah,
many
you can,
shovel-ready
well, you can
houses
speak
are
to
ready
code enforcement. They're the ones that, is it the Housing Appeals Board, I believe? Is that
Yes,
what
it's
yeah.
housing appeals.
Yeah.
Some of that comes from that, others, it doesn't, so I'll just have to check with that.
People can
department.
voluntarily come to us. We haven't had that, though, so.
Okay, so I had benches, fix up streets, and that's it then.
Anybody else? No? Okay, let's go to the next. Briefly, these were for public services right here on line 6. These are the applications we received this year. The Erie County Senior Center has requested $25,000 for their Meals on Wheels program. The Community Action Commission has requested $25,000 for food pantry renovations and Snappy Packs. New Jerusalem Church has requested $6,500 for stipends, supplies for heating and warming shelters, and OGO has requested $25,000 for food distribution coordination. Overall, we have $51,264.20 available for this. So we're working on evaluating these. There's a matrix, and we have scores, and we will announce to the applicants once we get that finalized. Any questions?
Is there any chance that there'll be other funds that apply to that so that the pot can be larger, or no?
No, unfortunately. I added in, I think when we first did this, it was 50,000, and I added the 1,264.20 since we could.
I think it was 40.
But that's the max we can do. I tried to put as much as we could in there, so,
Thank you.
yeah. Okay, well, there's a public comment period, like I said, through April 23rd. Those will all be compiled and put into the plan, and then there's a public hearing scheduled for the 24th in this room. So if you have any questions or comments, let me know. The draft plan itself is on the website, and if you have any comments, feel free to contact me. I think we'll call this adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.